Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
arrived. To demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. Last day of the month, 31st of July. So we have a sun sign in Leo, which is a fire sign. Fire moves. So there's activity taking place with the fire sign. Fire represents ideas. It's confirmation of the mental universe that we live in. Fire is also related to Leo and the tarot card of strength, which teaches us the lesson of right useness of our energy, of bringing the kundalini up through the proper channel so that all that we do comes through love. The moon sign for today is making a transition from a one to the next, from Virgo to Libra. This transition completes itself in the next couple hours at 11:09 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we're going from an earth sign of Virgo to an air sign. So we know about air. Air moves. Air doesn't stay still. Air creates a nice little breeze, or it can create a big storm. So we have air and fire working together now. The unconscious mind, the air, the words, and the actions. The unconscious mind, if it allows itself to get out of control, can overwhelm the ideas. Or the fire could be so much that it could snuff out the words and actions, stifle them. So the best thing is for the words, the ideas, the words, and the ideas to work together in a nice harmonious fashion. Later this afternoon we have Mercury is moving into Leo. So nice good communication taking place there within the realm of creativity. Later this evening we have a sextile between the moon sign Libra and Jupiter, which is expansion. So it's expansion of those energies. Libra, we're going to look at a little bit further in a moment. Libra is the card that relates to justice in the tarot. Has to do with karmic balance, our sense of justice, how we look at things. So that's expanding as we get into this evening time. And then later tonight, between Uranus and Venus, there is a square. So between our imagination, Venus, and between unexpected changes or surprises, there's a lesson that takes place shortly before midnight here on the West Coast. Other than that, that's what's getting us going today. The numerology is a number 9. Here's how we arrived at number 9. 7 plus 4 plus 7 or 731, 2014 equals 74718. 1 plus 8 equals 9. We know what the 9 is. This 9 is the tarot card of the Hermit. 9 is the last of the single numbers. 9 is a number meaning the union of sexual opposites. The idea of the Hermit is about patience, timing, holding the lantern high for others to see. Henceforth, the idea that number 9 is the last of the single numbers, so it's an accumulated amount of wisdom, and so 9 can help 1 through 8 see what's going on as it progresses on its way to 10, which is the next designation, in which goes back to a number 1 plus a 0. And so we're starting to go through the process over again. So if you look at numerology in that way, it's just a cycle that ends and begins and ends and begins and so on and so forth. Looking over at the tree of life to see where everything is today here. Moon sun sign right here. It's going to be for a while. Moon sign Libra right here. And a numerology right here, number 9. So we've got a nice little triangle going on right here. Going from mercy and severity back to the heart. So a lot of good harmony, it looks like, today. We're going to take a further look at the tarot card of justice, which is the unconscious moon, subconscious moon, dealing with Libra. You see the Hebrew letter Lamed means ox goad. Okay, the key is the center of the tarot pack. It stands for equilibrium, balance, etc., symbolized by the title and the scales. They also symbolize the Hindu doctrine of karma, which literally means action or work. It manifests itself in the form of a law of undeviating justice. This means action. This doctrine is expressed in the Judeo-Christian dictum, as a man soweth, so shall he also reap. In physics, it is stated that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It is the entire appearance of cause-effect. The two curtains suggesting duality represent balance by their symmetrical arrangement. The throne represents the pillar and the veil, symbolism of key 2. The circle and the square on the front of the crown refer to the movement of spirit within material forms. The sword represents discrimination, which is closely allied with the idea of justice. Key 11 is the agency through which all of the forces represented by keys 1 through 10 are transferred to the manifesting powers represented by keys 12 through 21. This cryptic statement deserves a great deal of thought upon your part. You'll be well rewarded for your effort. Okay, so as you're contemplating this card, again, let's look at this last part because it is important. Keys 1 through 10, and then keys 12 through 21. They all are connected by key 11, which is the middle point here. So it says key 11 is the agency through which 1 through 10 transfer their powers to key 12 through 21. So we've got key 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So all of these keys here are going to transfer through this one here. So from this point on, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 are all expressed. So this is a very important key, how it balances out the first group of cards or expressions with the last group of expressions. Okay, let's move from there to the moon phase, 19% of the way full, making its way up to the full moon. Here it tells us that in a really dark sky, the Milky Way now forms a magnificent arch high across the whole eastern sky after darkness is complete. It runs all the way from below Cassiopeia in the northeast up and across Cygnus and the Summer Triangle high in the east and down past the spout of the Sagittarius teapot in the south. Okay. Mayan Oracle. New wave spell. Timelessness is the theme. It's the wave spell of the wizard. So we have 13 days of timelessness. Whenever you have a beginning of a wave spell, the guide is always the same as the daykin. So it's the wizard guided by the wizard. Timelessness guided by timelessness. We even go further and we call this the magnetic tone. So it's magnetic timelessness guided by timelessness. The serpent is like-minded energy, which is our life force. The seed is our planting and flowering ability. That's our challenge for today. Our hidden power is our hand, which is our ability to accomplish. It's the occult kin, and occult simply means that which is hidden. Sometimes we have to dig deep to what's hidden inside to bring it up to the surface. The phrase for today is I unify in order to enchant, attracting receptivity. I seal the output of timelessness with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by my own power doubled. Space weather. Solar wind is 312.4 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is quiet. Still have this one lonely coronal hole making its way across. Looks like there's a little sliver here opening up, but nothing yet that we're informed is going to affect us. Okay, we've got some movement here. X-class went up from 15% to 30% today. X-class is still the same at 5% like it was yesterday. Geomagnetic storm activity is relatively low. Now we're down to 10 and even 1% in the mid-latitudes, 15% in the high latitudes. And the last thing we look at here is our Jewish calendar for today. Today is 4 Av. We're still during this period of time, the mourning period that happened with the fast of Tammuz. Daily thought. It is not so much that we need to be taken out of exile. It is that exile must be taken out of us. It's pretty good thought. And it certainly brings to mind the ideas that the universe is mind. It's a mental universe. So when we take that idea, that mental idea, that construct that we have in our mind about what exile is, and we look at that, maybe we find that we keep reflecting out into the world something that's inside of us that needs to be cleansed out. Henceforth, the idea of take the exile out of us. There you go. That gets us started. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today's first story takes us up to the moon. All right, we got this little figure right here. Question is this real or was this put in sometime after the fact? Alien figure found on moon in Google Map. Okay, there's an object in question. Remember the 1967 NASA image referred to as the Shard? A strange and very large tower-type figure that appeared in one still image captured by Lunar Orbiter 3, I think. Well, this thing spotted by Genesco could be eerily similar. An irregular-shaped dark spot you notice on Google Moon looks like it could be casting a shadow from a massive standing object or figure. At first I thought maybe it was something drawn in the picture, but after going to Google Moon, whatever it is or isn't, is there. You get the idea. Go check it out and of course decide for yourself. Okay, so what is it? Don't know, but you should be able to find the links here. Variant area shows you how to go there, where he's actually at, and there it is. Interesting. All right, check it out. firstcontactradio.com. Here we go to a story out of Area 51. Identified flying object caught on tape near Area 51. There's our object in question. UFO sighting was allegedly recorded in Nevada near Area 51 by a tourist. The witness said she was filming out of the bus window while the strange object flew by. This was filmed this month. And we have Look Now TV. Okay, here we go. Minute and 18-second video. And we'll see something move by. There it is. Whatever that was seemed to move by pretty quick. It was right here. Now it is. Alright, there we go. There it is right there. And made a quick disappearance. Very interesting. Whatever you think that might be, it's either some sort of giant bird-like creature, but I don't think so. Very interesting, though, whatever that is. One of their secret type of military craft. Alright, moving from Area 51, now we're going to go to New York. This one was captured earlier this year in April. Melvin Harris from New York is constantly recording amazing UFO videos. On April 27th, he caught this one. It's a 3-minute, 17-second video. Jaime Maussan. There we go. There's our object in question. Not this one. This is their logo. That's what we're looking at. Interesting. Okay. Very cool. Check it out. firstcontactradio.com. Alright, here's a piece for you to watch and listen to. It's an hour and a half in length. However, let me tell you what it's all about. Dark journalist interviews UFO military whistleblower. Dark journalist interviews former USAF Sergeant Neria Isley for a fascinating, in-depth discussion of her terrifying and transformative experiences as a UFO and military abductee. Together they will recount her earth-shattering encounters with the great aliens and her experiments to develop alien hybrid children using her as an unconscious vehicle. Also, how the military recruited her into the trauma-based mind-controlled program and gave her access to reverse-engineered extraterrestrial craft and a secret off-world space program located on the moon. Neria Isley's journey through the covert world of alien contact and top-secret military UFO programs will make you totally reconsider the official reality and the truth about extraterrestrials and the fantastically advanced technology they possess. After listening to the interview and reading her new book, Facing the Shadow, Embracing the Light, you may never look at space, aliens, and the military the same way again. Alright, very interesting. This is very important right here. Military abductee. Okay. For those who aren't sure what this is, it means that the person is being abducted by the military, by the United States government. They're an abductee. They're being tested on by our government, but they're not being told what it is. They're being led to believe that it's extraterrestrial, so it's really messing with someone's mind. That's what this is all about. Alright, so not all experiences that people have out there with extraterrestrials or extraterrestrials, sometimes the ones that are the most terrifying experiences are coming from military abduction scenarios. It's a shame and it's sad that our own people down on this planet would do something so cruel to other human beings, but they do it all the time. All the time. We're a very primitive society when we look at it, aren't we? Things that we allow, things that we do. It's crazy. And this last piece here is an article from UFO Digest. It says, comparing UFO buffs and religious fundamentalists. Is there a similarity? Well, Ron Murdoch seems to think so. I find a common theme among human race is how one group can criticize others for its alleged absurd beliefs, yet hold on what can be called equally absurd beliefs. An example, if UFO buffs and religious fundamentalists, UFO believers have been regarded as a flaky bunch of religious leaders, and followers are generally thought as outstanding citizens. There are times I beg to differ. A pastor that used to be stationed in the small city I live in, Schofield, at the possibility of UFOs amongst other things in the realm of the paranormal. But he didn't question anything written in the Bible despite lack of any real proof supporting the virgin birth and other biblical claims. It's amazing the double standards involved. Over the centuries, untold masses have believed in questionable information that organized religion has told them. One topic that has been ridiculed in the prospects of life elsewhere other than what is on the earth. The universe has countless planets and stars, some of which could very well support life on them. To say Earth is the only inhabited planet in the entire cosmos is egotistical, vain, and arrogant on our part. Yet for centuries, conventional wisdom said Earth was the center of the universe when we are far from it. To disagree with the party line of that day meant being labeled as a heretic or shunned. UFO world has its share of fringe element, but claims of religious fundamentalist can be just as absurd. Instead of continuing in the us versus them mentality, we need to find answers in the field. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on in this area. Ron makes a very good point. We do have a lot of confusion down here on this planet. We do have a lot of those who belong to various religious organizations that believe in some things that are very way out there. And so for them to dismiss the UFO phenomena, yet believe some of the far out things that some of these different religious organizations do believe, it's kind of strange. Now, I'm not talking about the belief in God, because when we hear about extraterrestrials and we really hear about what they are learning and what they know, they all talk about God and the journey of God that they're on. We're going to hear more about that in just a bit from the Pleiadians. So God is not the strange thing that's way out there. It's some of the man-made concepts, because that's what religion is. Religion is a man-made concept. Jesus didn't come down and say, I'm Christian, have a Christian religion. Jesus was a spiritual being, and the religion grew up around his words. It was started by men. Same thing with all of the other religions. I don't think that the words of Buddha and what Buddha was about is exactly what Buddhism is all about. And even though it isn't necessarily a religion, but more of a philosophy, again, it was started by humans, and it wasn't started by the actual person. And we can go through all of the different religious philosophies that are out there, and we find the same thing. It's not the original person that put the information out. It's the followers that came up and started the organization. And all organizations, when they're started by men, they do have some difference from the way it would be if it was actually run by God. And these things go on in present times. It's like, look at Scientology. I would venture to say that if we were to look at what L. Ron Hubbard actually said and then compare it to what Scientology is doing, we would find a difference there as well. So again, it just seems to be that organizations pop up and they take to extreme what the original person said and oftentimes blow it out of proportion, so that the religion itself really isn't even following what the person said, because they're in many cases more extreme or more lenient, just depending on how they want to interpret what was said. All right, there you go. That's our UFO news with a little extra religious commentary. I'll be right back, and we shall continue on, so don't go anywhere.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Okay, continuing. I thought this piece was pretty fascinating. It's about breathing underwater. You'd like to breathe underwater. That'd be pretty cool, right? Well, here we have a man-made breathing leaf. It's an oxygen factory for space travel. Okay, let's check out what it says here. It says an artificial leaf converts water to light and light to oxygen, and that's good news for road tripping to places beyond the Earth. One of the persistent challenges of man's space exploration is that pesky lack of oxygen throughout much of the universe. Here on Earth, trees and other plant life do us a real solid by taking our bad breath and charging it back to clean, sweet O2. So what if we could take those biological oxygen factories into space with us, but without all of the land, sun, water, soil, and gravity that forests tend to require? This is the point where NASA and Elon Musk should probably start paying attention. Royal College of Art graduate Julian Melchiori has created the first man-made biologically functional leaf that takes in carbon dioxide, water, and light and releases oxygen. The leaf consists of chloroplasts, the part of the plant cell where photosynthesis happens. suspended in body made of silk protein. The material has an amazing property of stabilizing the chloroplast organelles, Melikori says in the video below. As an outcome, I have the first photosynthetic material that is living and breathing as a leaf does. In addition to its potential value to space travel, Melikori also imagines the technology literally providing a breath of fresh air to indoor and outdoor spaces here on Earth. The facades of buildings and lampshades could be made to exhale fresh air with just a thin coating of the leaf material. But perhaps best of all, a man-made breathing leaf could be the key to not just space travel, but space colonization. No need to figure out how to till that dry red Martian dirt to get some nice leafy trees to grow. We could just slap them on the inside of the colony's dome and puff away. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so you're not going to breathe underwater with this, but you can breathe in space, and that seems like it'd be a little bit more exciting than breathing in the water. All right, so the Bringers of the Dawn. So have you been getting anything good out of this book? And have you read through any of the other chapters of the book, or are you just following along? What we're doing is we're at chapter 5 right now. Once a week, I'm going to bring up the next chapter, and we're going to go through it for a portion of the chapter, and then the book is available. There's a PDF format of this book available. You can just download it and read ahead, do whatever you want to do, but I think you'll find it to be very fascinating. The Pleiadian and the information from all of these books, which are channeled from Barbara Marciniak, is very fascinating material. It ties in with all of the other information that we've been learning. So here we go. This is continuing on. Chapter 5. Who carries the cord of light? You hold the history of the universe within your physical body. What is occurring upon the planet now is the literal mutation of your physical body, for you are allowing it to be evolved to a point where it will be a computer that can house this information. This is going to occur due to genetic engineering that really has nothing to do with you. You can facilitate the process, of course, by intending cooperation with it. As a species, you are being biogenetically altered by the beings who created you and who redesigned your DNA at periodic junctures in your history. This time period was designed by the original creator gods or project designers for them to come back and take over this planet and return it to its original plan. Millions have been called to participate in this project. Millions have said, yes, we are renegades. Let us go and take back the project and see if we can set it right. We will rebuild the ruins and put it together. So the plans have been drawn and designs have been made, and the genetics studied to find out what carries the recessive genes and the cord of the light inside of them. You have selected with great clarity the parentage, and genealogy provides you with the fullest accessibility to a combination of light-encoded filaments that could potentially evolve. Before you came into the body, all of you committed to designing events that would fire your codings or blueprints that would activate your memories. Then you came into your body and you forgot. All you have had your blueprints and codings fired to some extent because you understand there is a divine purpose or a divine plan that you are a part of. The firing of the codings and the realization of your identity are going to become phenomenally intense. The reason for this is the evolving DNA. When you have 12 helixes of DNA in place, those helixes will begin to plug into the 12 chakra system. The 12 chakras are vortex centers loaded with information that you must be able to translate. You are evolving yourself, and when you are not on the planet, you are perhaps even more involved with other identities of yourself. Therefore, to evolve, you pick particularly challenging situations in which you have to rise beyond what has been established as a ceiling or boundary of what is possible. You have to become super beings in whatever reality you enter, because as members of the family of light, the branch of renegades, this is your forte. You purposefully came to this planet to give yourself such a challenge so that you could be defiant, not in a way that would give you problems or create disharmony, but in a way that would create harmonic defiance. Through your harmony, you are defiant towards the old vibrational frequency. Part of the friction you feel with others is that you are on this path of evolution and bursting forth. Others don't like this because they are not coded at this time to respond the way you are. Some people are not coded at all for this. Some knew the plan of change and came here at this time to be observers. Some timid beings came here knowing that if they had the courage to step onto this planet while realizing what the blueprints of this planet was, that somehow this would be an accreditation of their own conscious journey and would catapult them into a higher consciousness, even if their only participation in the transition was simply to be here. Just to be in the vicinity of this kind of activity is empowering. So give due credit to all here who are here on the planet at this time, who have decided to be participants in this great frequency change. All of these participants are necessary because the more frequencies that are on this planet, the more energy that can build to alter the old frequency. Those who have opened themselves up to light are literally having their bodies rearranged. Sometimes you may wake in the middle of the night and literally feel the rearrangement. This rearrangement of the body is the restructuring of the DNA. Your DNA is a filament. A scientist would describe it as a connective filament. Scientists, doing their best they can up to this point, have found certain codings within certain portions of the DNA. They have also found some superfluous portions of the DNA. In other words, there are portions that they cannot translate or figure out. So they think these portions of the DNA are just there for the ride, and they call them junk DNA. But they are off track. We have talked about how all of you were built by the creator gods. You were built like houses that were going to expand or be added on to in the future. You are now at the juncture when those who design you are adding on to who you are. What the scientists call junk DNA has been dormant in your body for a long time and is now becoming activated. In our teachings, we always emphasize the importance of oxygenation because oxygen feeds the coding and awakens the junk DNA in your body, which certainly isn't junk at all. What scientists are calling junk houses the perceptions deep inside of your body that will allow you to become an entire perceiver, a fourth-dimensional being. This awakening DNA will allow you to change your eyesight, change your hearing, increase your lifespan, and so on. This dormant part of the DNA has baffled the scientist, is now coming to life. You are mutating so quickly now that certain scientists call the process a disease. Some are very concerned about it. They have persuaded the government to invest billions of dollars to research DNA. What is occurring in your body is certainly not a disease. You are being naturally mutated and rearranged. This mutation occurs most often while you are sleeping. So you may be waking up in the mornings noticing something feels a little different in your body. You can expect that the changes will begin to show themselves and that you will develop new abilities. You will automatically know many things. The original designers of the human body were benevolent beings. These original creator gods were very generous in endowing you biogenetically with tremendous vitality of spirit and a tremendous rest of capability. Much of this information is stored within your body in the light-encoded filaments that are scattered and are coming back into alignment. Your bones and the skeletal form correspond with that information. When your skeletal form is in alignment, the energy from sacred power site is released. The cosmic rays are pulled into your body and the light-encoded filaments inside your cells begin to reorder themselves. You will find that you are in change. The change will be mirrored to you everywhere you look. The present evolutionary system designed by the creator gods to step you up in a number of dimensions or frequencies is based upon the evolution of the 12 helixes that correspond to the 12 chakra centers, 7 within your body and 5 outside of your body. This is simply the way the system plugs in. With respect to the evolution of the helixes within the human body, a common denominator frequency must be attained that even those in the lowest possible stations can reach. There is also those humans who go beyond the 12 helixes. In general, however, the state of consciousness of humanity cannot achieve that kind of acceleration. It is enough of a leap for people to go from a double helix system to a 12 helix system. Some people will be functioning with the 12 helixes within a short period of time, while others around the planet will not receive this shift until later in the decade. This is simply because each individual is coded to be given the frequency when they are capable of integrating it. Many are already having the difficult time integrating the changes at this early stage of the plan. A large majority of the humans on Earth have convinced themselves that there is only one reality and there can be no other. This could be the downfall of the human race. As the helix has come into full force in a person, there is an awakening of the person's inner knowledge, knowledge that goes beyond what the person has been taught. This inner knowledge is the knowledge of self, knowledge that says that there is much more than this physical world. Believe it, know it, understand it. The physical world is clued to the spiritual world. The world of spirit and self-evolution is on the verge of information explosion. Cheap energy, free energy, everything will be given to you. All of this is related to the evolving grid encoded filaments, which are millions and billions of tiny little fibers. As we related the story to you, the rating creator gods who came in and took over needed to have you operate in a certain way in order to control you. They needed to unplug your intelligence, and so they did, by scattering and disconnecting the light-encoded filaments that form the helixes in your DNA. These filaments are now beginning to reconnect into helixes. The helixes will evolve into sets of 3 until there are 12 strands or helixes. When these 12 helixes or strands of many light-encoded filaments begin to vibrate within the body, each of the strands will correspond to a chakra center. There are a multitude of chakra centers and there are multitudes of potential helixes that can form. Right now, the common denominator with respect to the number of helixes and chakras that the consciousness of humanity can handle without destroying itself is 12. So we're dealing right now with an evolvement of 12 helixes to plug into the 12 chakras, as mentioned before. 7 chakras in the body and 5 outside the body. The 7 chakras in the body are not too difficult to work with because if you allow yourself to feel, you can physically touch and locate all of them. The first 3 of the chakras are survival, sexuality, and perceptual feeling. The 4th chakra is the heart center of compassion and connectedness to all things. The 5th is the throat, which relates to speaking. The 6th is the third eye, the vision. The 7th, the crown chakra, which opens to the knowing that one's identity goes beyond the physical form. When you get the 5 outside of your body, you must begin to find new ways to figure out what is going on with something that you don't even know for sure is real. The 8th chakra is within the realm of activity. It hovers 12 inches or more above your head. Most people keep the 8th chakra close to their physical body. The 9th chakra is close as well, within a few feet of the body. Once 9 helixes are formed, the chakra will move out into the atmosphere of Earth to become more of an Earth chakra connecting into the grid work. It is a link. The 10th, 11th, and 12th chakras are much further out. The 10th chakra, once it is in line and plugged in, will be in your solar system. The 11th chakra will move out into your galactic system, and the 12th will be located and anchored someplace in the universe. You will receive information from these personal centers, for they are collective centers as well, just as the other personal chakra centers are collective centers. As you learn to translate the chakra energies, you will discover that life is not the same anymore. Not all people on the planet are going through these changes right now, because you are not all coded to respond to this particular time. Each of you came in with a certain order, a map of when, where, and how, and best to operate. Many of you are learning how to follow this plan of the self that will lead you to discover your exalted self. Once you learn how to do this, life will become quite effortless because you will become a vehicle of light and you will be moved just by your intention to commit. Different humans will be exposed to these changes at different times because it would not do to have them all occur at once. This would create chaos where a certain order is needed. As an individual goes through the changes and translates the experience, they can turn to someone to assist them who has already gone through the changes. For those of you who are beginning people, the process can be very difficult. You are the way showers. You are able to go through the changes. You can make the path and show others. You are the roadmaps that indicate certain events that occur if you wish to plug into these grid works of time. The greater commitment you have in every moment to your own evolution, the sooner the changes will occur for the last person. There was a time when the human species occupied higher dimensional frequencies, and you had the ability to move through realities and manipulate matter. Many of these abilities were purposely scattered by the beings who are in charge of your reality. You must understand that every reality has its guardians, and there are different stewardships and guardians at different levels, at different times. We are using the term guardian in a neutral fashion. You use the term guardian for someone who is protective. We will say that a guardian is in charge of reality, and perhaps they guard it from others. They don't let others come in and change their reality. Guardians, as we're referring to them, are not necessarily benevolent, uplifting entities. The entities who are guarding your reality could be keeping out those entities who would set you free. You have forgotten so much because you were retooled, and many of your inherent abilities were scattered and unplugged so that they would not work. Control came down over minds in your society. There are veils of protection that were put around the earth because if you were to attempt to plug into some of this information, you would not have the tools or the background or the ability to make sense of these realities. Now the whole planet is immersed in expanding realities. In order to go into these other realities, you must first explore very deeply your own reality. There is no time to have 20 years of psychoanalysis. You have to develop skills and abilities within a few hours that will allow you to travel a few decades in your own emotional evolution. You're going to have to travel the emotional highway because the human body expresses itself through the emotions. That is the uniqueness and the gift of your species. First, you will need to open the emotional highways to areas that you have hidden from yourself in this particular lifetime. Memories may flood in as this data is lined up inside your memories about events that were difficult for you at that time, or perhaps that you did not have a context for. Some of you may have to uncover the events of extraterrestrial contact that all of you have had when you were children. Some of you may uncover expressions of sexuality you did not understand at the time that you were involved in them, whether you were passive or active participant. Such things have been buried up by the human emotional body because it is very sensitive to judgment, and the mental body passes tremendous judgment. The emotional body linked to the spiritual body hides from this. You all think you know who you are? You have stories of who you are based upon what you remember of growing up in this lifetime. We want to communicate to you that you have a number of parallel, legitimate experiences that have different memories than you have. You stopped these memories or didn't focus on the related events because your emotional body could not compute them. Much of what you will tap into is tied into your sexuality because it's part of yourself that you have not understood and that you must go into in order to understand its purpose. What is sexuality all about? Who made these rules about the appropriate and inappropriate expression of it? Also coming up for you will be the realization of the contacts and the energy that were continuously around many of you when you were younger to teach you. You blocked out these events because you were not given the support to believe they truly occurred. As you begin this multidimensional exploration, the memories that you have hidden from yourselves will come forward. You will be astonished that you could have completely forgotten whole events in large chunks of your life, especially events that occurred when you were under 12 years of age. You will be amazed when you explore the ability of the nervous system to shut down the flow of data and the mind cannot compute, and yet the records are there, so you will replay them. You will now have the ability to commute many of these things because you will learn to be neutral and not to judge what you have participated in. As you explore your current body, identity, and lifetime, do it quickly. You do not have years to study them. As the information in your DNA is retooled and replugged in, you will be able to feel how events from this life connect and blossom and have a thread of purpose with many different places that you have lived and many different identities that you have occupied. Ideally, you will move out of judgment because you will not be able to pick up the story of what really happened there, which you will experience firsthand through cellular memory. The only way you can step into the higher frequency and determine the future of your lives on this planet is to not judge your participation within this process. This is very complex and very important. Feel what we just said. This process involves smashing the existing paradigm and becoming a heretic of reality. You will begin to understand that a legitimate, real existence has simply been hidden from you. it is imperative that you begin to remember who you are. You are not alone. You cannot do this alone. Even when we say to you that you are a standard bearer of your soul, there are other aspects of yourself that have figured the story out and are coming back to you at this time period. To create this vortex of energy is going to affect all realities. We cannot emphasize enough the importance of these times and the excitement and joy of what they hold, as long as you are willing to change. If you're not willing to change and not willing to give up things, you will have to go through experiences that will be less than joyful. All of you will have certain things that you may not want to give up. This may be the difficulty, for each of you has your area of clutching and clinging, and each of you came to do something here that you could get on with your travels and with what your soul is craving to experience. It is as if you have unfinished business here. The veil for many of you was pulled down very tightly so that you would not fly away and say, "What am I doing here again? I'm out of here." Those of you who understand the higher realms may have many times felt very alone here upon this planet. There are millions like you here at this time, forming a tremendous supportive group. You're beginning to meet and find others, and you're beginning to thread your consciousness, one fine strand with other strands of consciousness. You will see a most beautiful creation come together with great effort, because it is part of a plan and you are moved to do certain things. The whole planet has been controlled in such a way that you have been taught and trained down from the time you first arrive here that you are not in control of your own reality. You have been taught that everything is circumstantial and everything depends on something that you have to say, and this is wrong. You are the one who controls your DNA. You have the complete control over everything. Until you discover that and believe it, you are subjected to whatever anyone else wishes you to do in this free will zone. And in your innocence, you have been exposed to things that have allowed your DNA, your intelligence, and many other things to be controlled. All right, so that's the end of the chapter 5. Good information, a lot to absorb. So we made it through the whole chapter. Maybe something to reread through and re-grasp the information. But the book does repeat a lot of stuff over and over, so it is always a good reminder and a good refresher to go over all of that material again and again. And one thing that's kind of cool is when you hear some of the information, it sounds familiar, doesn't it? Even though you may have never heard it before, it resonates. And that's kind of the cool part about these channeled books, that they do resonate with individuals. Okay, here we go to N5D. This is an article by Trish Lesage. It's called Love in the Fifth Dimension. We all know that there are many different kinds of love. There is romantic love, the love between parent and child, the love between siblings, the love between friends, the love between pet owner and pet, and many other kinds of love. However, when we speak of love in the fifth dimension, we are not limited to these kinds of love. Fifth dimension love includes all of these kinds of love. It also extends beyond the confines of third dimensional love to include other types of love. For example, once you begin to reach fifth dimensional consciousness, they automatically begin to feel love towards everyone. They begin to see themselves in everyone, and they feel a close connection to everyone. They cannot harm anyone or anything, and they do not even think of harming others. They generally care about others. They, in other words, are heart-centered. Fifth dimensional love also extends beyond humanity to the animal, insect, and the plant kingdoms and beyond. A person who reaches the fifth dimensional consciousness begins to feel a connection with Mother Nature and all of its creatures, and feels as if they are one with the animal kingdom. The person may even begin to feel as though these animals possess a human soul and human characteristics. This fifth dimensional love also leads one to respect and feel compassion for the animal, insect, and plant kingdoms. Generally caring about Mother Earth and all of her occupants is of great importance, and becomes part of the fifth dimensional human permanent behavior, and becomes a permanent personality characteristic. It becomes part of the person who is at the very core. Once a person reaches the fifth dimensional consciousness, they feel so much joy and enthusiasm that they love their life. They love living, and they love life in general. This love for everyone and the love that one feels for life uplifts and inspires the individual to the point that they want to spread their love and light into a world by encouraging, inspiring, and uplifting humanity. Imagine what the world would be like if all humanity were to exist at a fifth-dimensional state of heart-centered love consciousness. Since everyone would be generally loving everyone else, and everyone would generally care, there would be no separation, no hurting one another, no crime, no wars, no conqueror mentality, no competition, no greed, no hoarding or resources, no lack of regard for destroying the environment, no lack of regard for depleting the earth of its natural resources, and the list goes on and on. If all humanity were operating in a fifth-dimensional state of heart-centered love consciousness, we would all feel peace within, and external peace would exist throughout the world, and there would be unity and collaboration, and the earth and all of its inhabitants would be well cared for, and abundance would exist for all. Yes, what a wonderful world it would be. If enough of us care, humanity can transcend the negativity of the third-dimensional earth and ascend to the heart-centered utopian heaven on earth of what the fifth dimension and beyond. We can make it if we want it enough, and we can make it if we try. Good article. Good article indeed. All right, and that brings us to our channeled message for today, which today comes to us from Mother Mary and Lady Nada. Okay, so let's get over and see what they have to say for today. Here we go.
Lady Nada and Mother Mary, you are magnificent carriers of love everlasting, designed and equipped for the task from time beginning.
By Franzipeda. July 27, 2014.
Hello dear sweet ones. We come before you together again to bring you love, everlasting in concert and in union for this now moment in ever-cascading streams of love, everlasting and enduring for all to tap into, forever and always. We are your mentors and guides in this now moment, and we deliver our love to you this moment and always in complete openness and fullness of all your hearts put together. For imagine that, dear ones, love everlasting in union with all hearts at the same moment. It is a monumental task to undertake, yet fulfilling and magnificent in scope. And so dear ones, we are here to help you examine and accept your capacity to do this, to join your love everlasting with all hearts and with your whole hearts. What a sweet ambrosia it is, dear ones. The scope and capacity and possibility of this very thing has increased monumentally in the last few months in your measure of time, and indeed moment to moment. For love essence is building globally, universally, and multiversally with the building of love in each heart upon this planet. Each opening, each allowance of love to enter into your hearts and thus deliver outward, is accomplishing the task that you laid down to accomplish so many eons ago. You are doing it, dear ones. Take your attention away from where this is not evident, and focus your attention instead on where love is full and complete in your hearts, and from there nothing will be untouched eventually. And indeed, just with the intention to saturate each crevice of darkness upon this planet and universe, and multiverse shall, and is accomplishing this task in this moment, for time is notwithstanding, it is now. As we shared with this channel earlier, to love thyself is to love others, and to love others is to love thyself. And onwards and upwards into love ad infinitum. Believe it, dear ones, and use this as your mantra and your evidence that love is taking over this planet, and the universe and the multiverse as you open further to the love essence that you are. And none of this is new, but all of this is true, and as you visit it again and again and reacquaint yourselves with it on a new level each time as we are delivering it to you, you encompass it further and take it further into yourselves and further into your consciousness and become love everlasting in its finest. Oh beloveds, you are advancing in your love steps into a wider and wider arena of love, and from there you shall affect all with an ever-increasing potency. Believe that you are making a difference. Believe it with your whole hearts, beloveds. We come into your consciousness now to deliver that truth to you. You are magnificent carriers of love everlasting, designed and equipped for the task from time beginning, and blossoming into your full potential of it with each moment, each now moment into infinity. For you can now get a taste of how each moment of love multiplies and intensifies further your mission of love and your whole past, present, and future of love. It is now and always and ever increasing and multiplying and magnifying with each allowance of its utterance into the cosmos and into your surroundings. With each acknowledgement of your love essence, you are brought higher into the dimensional realms, and stepping up and leveling up further each moment you are, just by acknowledging your love essence and expressing your willingness to be it and share it. These words may seem simple, but breathe them in, and try them on for size now again from your new higher perspective that you have gained recently with your absorption of the love energies penetrating you and flooding your consciousness now. You can easily clear your way to seeing this by choosing to, and by choosing not to hold on to the negativity that keeps lifting from you. But let the negativity lift from and out of you in ever-increasing momentum until you are seeing clearly from the higher realms where we are. For you can simply choose to see your world from your higher aspects and the way will become clearer and clearer for you. We love you beyond measure, so take that love and affirm it and turn it on yourself beyond measure, and from there you raise yourself even higher and purer into the higher realms, in love everlasting, in union with all hearts now. We are with you always. We love you always. We are you, you are us. Namaste.
Alright, good message. Now, if you noticed a common thread between this message and the article just before this, Love in the Fifth Dimension, and Bringers of the Dawn, what was the common theme? Love. So love is obviously very important that it's talked about so often. We can change the world with love. John Lennon, all we need is love. Seems like it should be much more difficult, at least many people think that's the case. But when we really get down to it, it's amazing how actually simple it is. We just think we have to make things more complicated than they are, don't we? We sure do, but simplicity, remember, must be like a little child to enter the kingdom. Alright, here's our meditation for today. Here we go. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. And breathe in and out. Slowly breathe in and exhale. And as you breathe in and out, contemplate what it is that you're breathing in and out. Contemplate, what is this energy? What is this thing we call air? And as we breathe it in, we feel the quality of that which we're breathing in, and that it contains the essence of all of life within it. And as we take this essence of life and we examine it and feel it, we feel love within the essence of life. For it is love that is holding these molecules together, collecting them all together and bringing them to you. So we imagine with each breath we take, we inhale love into our being. And this love mixes with the love that we already have in us. And as we exhale out, we exhale love into the universe. So no matter which way we look at it, whether we inhale or exhale, we are factories for love. Factories of love, sending love out into the world. So just imagine yourself today. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, just imagine yourself being a factory for love. And just by breathing in, exchanging the air in your body, and breathing out, you're participating in this process of love exchange. And as you continue breathing, just contemplate the words of today's affirmation. I am beginning to see all of the positive qualities and the traits that I have. And just think of all of these positive qualities and traits. And just think how much and how connected each one of them is to love. So imagine now all of these positive qualities and traits, all of this love within you. And just imagine yourself walking through the world today, being a factory of love, sending love out wherever you go. Not having to say a word, just simply by your own actions, by your own thoughts, letting this love breathe in and then breathe out. And as you share this love with the world, watch what happens. And just notice how change subtly occurs. Just take another deep breath. Exhale. Imagine that love exchanging in your body, in and out. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. Now let's bring our consciousness back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. One more deep breath. Exhale. And there you have it. Open your eyes. And that's it, my friends. That's the show for today. It's kind of simple when we get down to it. All we have to do is just keep sharing love in the world and let love, which we're told is the greatest force we have available to us, let it do the work it needs to do. And if we just share the love, and it's that easy, we should be able to get everything fixed up like that. All right? That's it for today. Thanks very much for being here. I love you. Keep loving each other. And I'll be back tomorrow. We'll continue on. Tomorrow being Friday will be Jesus Friday. So there you have it. Peace. I'm out of here.